In the news tonight, shilling 7 trillion for the second quarter expenditure has been released by the Ministry of Finance to cater for salaries and various development projects.
Emirimu gyonna kati egiri wano emirimu 9 yandibadde yaba Italy.
President Museveni commissions shillings 12 billion hides and skin factory that will produce finished materials in Nakaseke district.
So passports are given to only Ugandan citizens.
And the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control has warned education institutions against admitting foreign students who lack valid immigration documents. In sports, Onduparaka and SC Villa played to a goalless draw in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League game in Bombo. Good evening, thank you for joining us. I am Kalachi Brand with Isaac Rochams to bring you your Friday PM edition bulletin to kickstart your weekend. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has released money to support the East African crude oil pipeline despite calls by the European Union Parliament to delay the construction of the pipeline. The European Union Parliament says issues related to unfair land compensation, human rights and the environment should be reviewed before the project takes off. Adams Mabala starts us off.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has released shilling 7 trillion for the second quarter expenditure, which is 50% of the 48 trillion of 2022-2023 financial year. Unlike the first quarter release, the ministry has released funds for development expenditures. The Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Ramadan Gobi, says they have revised figures for the country's projected economic growth from 6.0% to 5.4% due to inflation and high exchange rates, which the government is trying to address. The ministry has released shillings 337.3 billion for the contentious oil pipeline project through the Uganda National Oil Company out of the shillings 672.3 billion, making 100% of budgeted expenditure for the project.
And this results in a 100% release of their budget for this financial year. This has been done to meet Government of Uganda's equity participation interests in the HICOP company. The total there now by half year, which would have been released to UNOC, is 672.3 billion.
The ministry has also released shillings 397 for the parish development model, making 50% of the budgeted expenditure. Gobi cautioned groups of corrupt government officials who are planning to steal the money that they are being watched.
A number of arrests have been made. A lot of money has been recovered. You know, we have some diplomatic words in Uganda. Money has been misappropriated. Money has been diverted. No, stealing money should not be accepted. And nobody should really take this lightly. People are going to pay a very huge price.
The ministry has released shillings 1,780 for wages, shillings 305.1 billion for Ministry of Defence, shillings 265 billion for pension and gratuity, shillings 137.9 billion for Uganda Road Fund, shillings 122.41 billion for National Medical Stores, shillings 30 billion for agriculture, among other sectors. Gobi urged accounting officers in ministries, departments and government agencies to pay salaries and all service providers, as well as displaying salary payrolls plus submission of expenditure reports.
They pay wages, salaries, pensions and gratuity by 28th of every month. Number 2, accounting officers must prioritize payment to service providers in time and avoid accumulation of any more arrears.
Money has also been released for development expenditure. Shillings 503 billion will go to Uganda National Roads Authority, shillings 205 billion to the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, and shillings 142 billion to the Ministry of Works, and shillings 45 billion to the Uganda Airlines. Adams Mayambala, CTV, PM Edition.
Thank you, Adams Mayambala. Now, President Museveni has commissioned a shillings 12 billion hides and skin factory in Nakaseke district. Museveni, who has been campaigning for value addition to agricultural products, says Uganda will earn more money by exporting finished products. More from Krisemane Musemakula.
Omo village in Nakaseke district is one of the areas where President Museveni fought an armed war that brought him to power in 1986. Almost 4 decades later, a hides and skins factory valued at 12 billion shillings has been commissioned in the area. It's expected to process skins into pure leather ready for sale. Speaking to the gathering at Kaomo Demonstration Farm, Museveni says the move to add value to raw materials is the way to go for Uganda.
Ate walimu n'ekizibu ekirala twatandika okuyigiriza abaana nze okugenda kuzimba wano ekkolero lino nali ntandise okusomesa abaana okukola engatto Kampala.
He says government will support the residents of Luwero to grow bamboo for paper production.
Ngenda kubayigiriza okulima amabanda kubanga ge twetaaga okukola empapula. Ezo empapula nazo zifuuse ekizibu. Abafrika tebalina mpapula bali awo balinze kusaka China buli kantu konna China enviiri China z'abantu balamu.
Museveni had no kind words for people who have continued to destroy nature.
Mugende muve ku nsozi zaffe mukozesa amayinja amalala siga nsozi kati kigambo ekyo. I think the best is for the government to compensate the people who claim those hills, and they become government forest reserves, and we plant them with the trees. So, Prime Minister, don't take my ministers and MPs. I want them to pass by my little home here, so that I ask them 1 or 2 questions.
Prime Minister Robina Nabanja says government is tired of civil servants who are incompetent and corrupt.
Doctor, bamukubire simu ave mu kiliniki ye ajja asobola omukolako. Omukazi ng'ali bubi. Bannaye mbabuulire. Gavumenti yaffe ekoze ekisoboka. Naye emirimu gyaffe ffenna nga bwe tugigabana tetunnaba kukola na maanyi. Nze bwe nfunye akakisa kano ne ngamba kambagambeko.
State House Controller Jen Bareche says the factory will produce 10 tons of skins and 20,000 square meters of leather.
A production capacity of 10 tons a day. And when we process these 10 tons, we get out 20,000 square feet of leather. And when we split, what do I mean by splitting? One leather can be splitted. Those who walked around knows what I'm talking about. It can be splitted to produce like 3 or 4 more leather. So when we split and sum it up, Your Excellency, 10 tons generates for you 35,000 square feet of leather.
Ugandans are reminded to embrace the 4 acres farming model where they can grow fruits, coffee, grass and food production to graduate from subsistence to commercial agriculture.
Police have blocked the top leadership of the opposition Forum for Democratic Change, who are traveling to Kasese district to deliver relief items to victims who are affected by recent floods and mudslides. Most of the victims are residents of Kasika, where 16 people died and dozens of houses were destroyed.
The party leaders were led by party president Patrick Amuriat. Amuriat says on top of an assortment of mattresses to victims, they had secured 5,000 tree seedlings they intended to plant in the area to conserve the environment.
We as the FDC would like to make a contribution towards the commencement of a conservation program that is intended to mitigate some of the harsh effects of the change in the environment, climate change, and therefore we will be doing this by way of encouraging tree planting.
However, Wilfred Bagenda, the Kasese District Division Commander, blocked the team, saying they had not received permission from the force.
Well, first of all, this whole thing stinks. It's a very silly thing to be happening because we are volunteering relief support to the people in Rukochi and being stopped by the police. What we have decided to do is to take back these relief aids, keep the relief aid in the store until such a time that the local people can go and pick them wherever they will be kept by themselves.
FDC Regional Chairperson Salu Matei said it is a shame that the police blocked them from delivering mattresses to people who are in great need.
Is that we have done the need for those people of FDC to come and support our fellow Ugandans for what we have seen. These are people sleeping very badly. Shelter is not enough for them. But then we are shocked that the police has blocked us. It doesn't want us to deliver the mattresses and other items to the needy people.
Former Kasese Municipality MP Robert Centenary condemned police for being insensitive to people who needed the relief.
But also condemn the act of the powers that abuse and misuse their powers to block people from delivering relief to citizens that are in need, people who are sleeping on the floor, people who don't even have containers to fetch water. That is inhuman. Honestly speaking, there is no way you can block people from coming to say sorry and offering a helping hand to people who are in need.
Women members of parliament have attended the 24th National Breakfast Prayer Meeting ahead of the 60th Independence Day anniversary. The prayers attracted a section of women leaders across the country, including ministers and KCCA's Executive Director, Dorothy Chisaka. Anita Among, the Speaker of Parliament, was represented by Tororo woman MP Sarah Opendi, as Ramson Mahaire reports.
Women members of parliament have attended the 24th National Breakfast Prayer Meeting ahead of the 60th Independence anniversary. The prayers attracted a section of women leaders across the country, including ministers, KCC Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka, and the Speaker of Parliament Anita Among was represented by Tororo woman Member of Parliament Sarah Opendi. In her remarks, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, asked women to foster unity as a means of facilitating development.
So my call to fellow women leaders is that they should hold each other's hands and let go petty fights that breach the solidarity that we so much need in a strongly parochial society. I also urge all of us to use the offices we hold and our spheres of influence to make the world a better place for the young girls and women who will come after us.
Domestic violence and the need to empower women toward economic transformation dominated all presentations.
Sometimes when women get to certain positions, maybe the man is not working. I have seen some people break up. But when the men are working and the woman is not working, there is no problem. So why should there be a problem when you are working and he's not working? Sure.
You hear stories of a wife who literally lifted bricks, lifted bags of cement together with the builders. But when the case goes to court, because the title is in the names of the man, they say she doesn't have a right to that property.
You are beholding when you behold your spouse, when you behold your children, when you behold the people who have multiplied through your body, you are beholding the image of God. And they have a mandate.
Kampala Capital City Authority Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka says it's high time leaders at all levels engaged their communities to engage in economic activities.
Creating wealth for our people is a key thing. Creating wealth for ordinary people, for you and me. You lose a job, then you know what it means not to have access to funding.
Women leaders have been asked to ensure that their families are stable because stability of their family is key.
Have something that brings a little money in the family. Not everything to be eaten. Ladies, this may look too much for us at this level, but at the level I see poverty in Busoga, it's not too much. Everything counts.
A section of women leaders were recognized and awarded for their effort in championing women development and transformation. Ramson Mhire, CTV Pemedish.
That marks the end of the first segment of PM Edition. Stick around as we return with more news. Welcome back. I'm Kalachi Brand with Isaac Luchams on PM Edition. Now, the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control has warned education institutions against admitting foreign students who don't have student passes. This comes after the Directorate had registered complaints of several foreign students who are illegally studying in Uganda, warning administrators to rectify the matter or face the courts of law.
Dr. Alex Mugisha Kagume, the Deputy Executive Director of the National Council for Higher Education, urged all foreigners in the country to legalize their stay by applying for relevant documents via the immigration's online portal. The documents include work permits, defendant's pass, student passes, and special passes.
It is important that the immigration is focusing on the students to get them passes so that they can be legal migrants here, legal visitors and stay here. But also it is important that people who come through help in the provision of higher education, the lecturers and other staff also be registered and also recognized by the migration.
So today we invited them here so that we can sensitize them according to the laws and regulations of Uganda. It's a mandatory that every foreigner seeking education in Uganda must register with immigration.
He says they plan to go to schools and universities to look at the type of documents their foreign students possess.
Our enforcement team from the Legal and Inspection Department are ready to go to inspect these schools, and in case they find that students are learning without these requirements, it is really, they will be prosecuted.
The Commissioner of Immigration, Geoffrey Kambere, says the process of applying for passes is digital, so there is no need to travel to the ministry.
That they can apply for these student passes even online without coming to the headquarters. And not only the headquarters, but also when they come to personalize the sticker into their travel documents, we have decentralized our services. So far we have regional offices, Jinja is open, Gulu is open, Mbarara is open, Mbale is open, Hoima is open, and very soon we are going to open up Arua.
A number of reasons have also been lined as to why there are increasing numbers of foreign students in Uganda.
Education in Uganda is very affordable in terms of pricing. It has also been reckoned that Uganda, as a people, we are very friendly, and the people like to come and stay with us. And also Uganda has been peaceful as a country.
Henry Lucky, the chairperson, Old Kampala Adult School, condemned immigration officials who arrest foreign students without contacting the schools.
Individuals in the police find our students moving on the streets and they end up arresting them, detaining them, asking them for the immigration status. So sometimes they charge them a lot of money without calling the schools to come and identify whether they are the students of a certain school or not. So now I do request the Ministry of Internal Affairs also to communicate with the police that whenever a student is arrested, let them call the school and also call the Ministry of Internal Affairs to verify whether the student has the legal documents or not.
Illegal stay in Uganda is punished by deportation, imprisonment, or fines. Each day, one illegally stays in the country attracts a fine of $30, which is 40 million Ugandan shillings in a year. On arrival, foreign students pay $100 to get a student pass, which is valid for 3, 6 to 1 year, depending on the applicant's preference. Tony Patila Humza, CTV, PM Edition.
Katikiro Charles Peter Maiga has announced that Uganda will mark her independence tomorrow. The day, according to Maiga, will also mark the end of the Bulungi week. He, however, says that there will be no public event to control the spread of Ebola. However, the Kabaka will address his subjects tomorrow, as Kasiga reports.
As you may be aware, the outbreak of Ebola was announced in Ibuwekula, that's Mubende, that's within the Kingdom of Uganda. That's why it was decided that the activities are carried out within the different counties and different venues, as opposed to gathering together in one place, which might be a big threat to our health. I'm, however, pleased and honored to announce that Ssaabasajja Kabaka will address Uganda tomorrow at 12 noon from the palace, as we mark the highlights of the Bulungi week and as we mark the kingdom's 60th independence. So we urge people of Uganda to plant ekibira kya Kabaka at Count headquarters, at Saza headquarters, and in other places where they've got vast lands, like at schools or places of worship. I also want to reiterate the resolution of the Buganda Lukiiko directed that trees get planted at different ceremonies we hold within the kingdom, at Kwanjula ceremonies, at last funeral rites ceremonies, at commemoration of anniversaries, say in marriage, or at graduation ceremonies, or other events where people are gathered. We urge people to plant trees so that we respond to the rampant deforestation.
Ekitiibwa kya Buganda kyava.
The Ethiopian Tigray conflict peace talks that were scheduled for this weekend will not take place due to logistical reasons. In the Gambia urgently recalls syrups blamed for 66 child deaths. The drugs manufactured in India are said to cause acute irreversible kidney injuries and are believed to be in supply in other African countries. Take a look. African Union-sponsored peace talks to resolve Ethiopia's 2-year-long Tigray conflict will not take place as planned this weekend, diplomatic sources have said. Ethiopia's federal government on Wednesday said it had accepted an invitation from the chair of the African Union Commission to attend the peace talks in South Africa. Tigray authorities said they were ready to send negotiators, but sought clarity on the structure of the talks, having previously insisted on the participation of international officials as observers. The Tigray authorities also sought security assurances for their travel. The diplomatic sources, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss the matter publicly, said logistical issues were partly to blame for the delay. They said the format of the talks had not been agreed upon. No new date has been set. The AU has said the talks are to be led by AU Special Envoy Olusegun Obasanjo, supported by former President of Kenya Uhuru Kenyatta and Fumuzile Mulambo Guchunka, a former Deputy President of South Africa. The conflict between the Tigray forces and Ethiopia's federal government renewed in late August, ending a lull in fighting in place since March that had allowed thousands of truckloads of aid to enter the Tigray region, where more than 5 million people need humanitarian assistance. Now aid deliveries have stopped. Forces from neighboring Eritrea are again deeply involved in the fighting on the side of Ethiopian forces, according to witnesses and recent satellite imagery. The Gambia has launched an urgent door-to-door campaign to remove cough and cold syrups blamed for the deaths of more than 60 children from kidney injury in the tiny West African country. Speaking to the Associated Press, the Director of Health, Dr. Mustafa Bitaye, confirmed the wave of child deaths from acute kidney injury, sending shockwaves across the country of 2.4 million people and around the world. The UN's World Health Organization has issued an alarm in response to the deaths, saying it had been working with Gambia's government to investigate the cause of the cases and deaths since August. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said World Health Organization has issued a medical product alert for 4 contaminated medicines identified in the Gambia that have been potentially linked to acute kidney injuries and 66 deaths among children. The global health body said the 4 medicines are cough and cold syrups produced by Maiden Pharmaceuticals Limited in India. It also added while the contaminated products have so far only been detected in the Gambia, they may have been distributed to other countries. The UN Health Agency said it is pursuing investigations with the company and regulatory authorities in India. Teaming up with the Gambia Red Cross Society, the Ministry of Health has dispatched hundreds of young people to collect the suspected syrups through a house-to-house campaign. Gambia's Medical Research Council has also issued an alarm. The drug has been identified as containing a significant amount of a toxin which damages kidneys irreversibly. In India, the federal regulator and the state regulator of Northern Haryana State are conducting an inquiry into the contaminated medicines. Beyond Africa reports in Russia state that Ukraine's attack on a bus in Russian-occupied Kherson region has left at least 5 people dead. In the US, FBI have gathered sufficient evidence to charge Hunter Biden, son of President Joe Biden, with tax crimes. The first and his lawyers have also called out the Intelligence and Security Service body for leaking such information to the media. The details. According to the Russian TASS news agency, Ukrainian soldiers have allegedly shot a bus in the Russian-controlled area of southern Ukraine's Kherson region today, resulting in at least 5 fatalities and many injuries. Authorities that were imposed by Russia in the area claimed that the attack happened as the bus was transporting people across a bridge close to the village of Daruvika. The burnt-out remains of what looked to be a bus's chassis were shown in videos posted by the Russian military news agency Zvezda, along with a van that was behind it and had smoke coming out of its front compartment. A Telegram channel run by the Russian installed health authorities said ambulance crews promptly arrived at the scene and provided emergency medical treatment to the victims. One of the few Russian-controlled crossings over the Inhulets River, a tributary of the enormous Dnipro, is the roughly 100-meter-long Daruvusky Bridge. The bridge, which is only 20 kilometers northeast of Kherson city, connects to Russian-occupied portions of the region and is therefore strategically significant. At least twice it has been shelled, and Ukrainian forces declared in August that they had rendered it inoperable. A report by the Washington Post said that the FBI had gathered what the body believes was sufficient evidence to charge Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, with tax-related crimes and for making a false statement when purchasing a gun. The sources told the publication that evidence gathered by FBI and the IRS investigators was sent to the U.S. Attorney's office in Delaware. But the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, who is overseeing the investigation of the president's son, has not yet decided whether to file criminal charges in the case, the Post reported. Biden's lawyers have slammed the FBI for the leak. A lawyer for Hunter Biden, Chris Clark, told the Post that federal agents are not allowed to leak information to the media. Soon after Joe Biden won the presidency, Hunter Biden confirmed he was under investigation for tax-related issues in 2020. Hunter Biden's business dealings and consultancies in Ukraine and China have been the subject of scrutiny for a long time, besides inviting questions about the ethics of his connections to foreign businesses, given his father's political influence. Trump was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives in 2019 for trying to pressure Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky into digging up what he alleged was compromising information on Hunter Biden. The Washington Post reported the investigations aim to uncover whether Hunter Biden failed to declare income related to different business dealings, including overseas. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware has been investigating Hunter Biden since at least 2019. It's 9:30 p.m. We take a short break. When we return, sports news. Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it CTV. Onduparaka and SC Villa have played out to a goalless draw in the Star Times Uganda Premier League. Onduparaka played host to Villa at the Bombo Barracks Stadium in one of the 5 games that they will play away from their Greenlight Stadium. Take a look.
The first game that was played without fans in this season's Star Times Uganda Premier League ended in a stalemate as Onduparaka drew 0-0 with record 16-time champions SC Villa at the Bombo Military Grounds. Onduparaka was sanctioned by the FIFA over fan violence last season and were ordered to play 5 games of this new season at a neutral stadium. Onduparaka had the most possession and opportunities in the game but failed to get the winner, with SC Villa comfortable with their draw as custodian Martin Elunget was named the Pilsner man of the match. Tomorrow, table leaders Bull FC, who won last year's Stanbic Cup Uganda, will host UPDF FC in Jinja. Assistant head coach Richard Kasule says the game against UPDF will not be an easy encounter.
They have a very good technical, so we respect them. Much as we do all those things, we are also ready for the game. Those who are there, they should expect a win, but not like that margin. But what we want for us, what we want is a win.
Kevin Kasoma, CTV, PM Edition.
Sunday is Independence Day. When the colonizer came, he took control of our land, resources, and also took control of our minds by demonizing our spiritual, social, political, and intellectual beliefs. When we fought for independence, we got back the land, the power, and resources, but what we didn't fight for is mental independence. When someone says you think like an African, they most probably think or mean that you think like a backward or uncivilized person. But does that describe our thinking? My question to you is, what does independence mean to you? I am Kalachi Brian with Isaac Rochams for your sign language interpretation, PM Edition, NTL. Good night.